I gotta say, that was dope. That
Thank
was
you.
really dope. It
Thank
gave me chills up my spine, and I'm never speechless, and I'm speechless in this moment. You say the bulk of your power is inside you. You aren't a mutation. What? Who says this? Dare to be fearless unless you are defeated by your own weaknesses. Amen. Talk about this. Talk about this piece. What inspired you to do this?
Well, there was so much fanfare with the whole Black Panther movie, and how it would be such an inspiring work of art within the African American community, and I wanted to kind of talk to some of the fears and doubts that we have within our community, and how that God and bestows upon all of us to have this power. And a lot of times we don't think we have it, but he bestows this power on us. Yeah, absolutely. And I also wanted to use some of the comic book characters that I grew up on and so forth, and just put it into a message that they can gravitate to, that they can identify with, and let them know that within inside them you do have a superpower.
Amen. So tell the viewers a little bit about yourself. Where do you come from? How did you get your background? Where did you start? When was you wrote your first poem?
Wow, it's crazy because growing up, I didn't really consider what I did was poetry, because I went to school, I went to high school. That's when I first started writing, and to me it was like writing in a journal, writing my thoughts. And one day a friend, I still to this day don't know how my friend got a hold of my composition book, but he was like, "This is poetry, man. You need to share this with the world." And from then on, I just, fell in love with it. There was some self-doubt, and there was some, fear, and not thinking that my words are not good enough, or they won't, impact or influence anyone. But that was, honestly, it was God just molding me and guiding me through the whole process, that, here I gave you this gift, you have to use it and share it with the world.
So what are some of your goals? What are your dreams in regards to doing spoken word?
Well, a lot of them, believe it or not, I've already accomplished, and I have other dreams and aspirations. I wrote my first poetry book back in 2015, self-published, and then this year, April of this year, I released my first spoken word album.
Yes.
And
Pulsar.
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 Yeah.
Let's dive into that real quick. What's
Okay.
Pulsar?
Pulsar, basically, it's a scientific anomaly. Usually, when a star collapses, it collapses into a black hole.
Yes.
Well, if it doesn't have enough force, it turns into this neutron star and starts spinning. And as it's spinning, it gives off a radio wave.
Yes.
And scientists, when they first discovered this, they thought it was, signals from outer space, from aliens. But then they discovered that it's these neutron stars that are spinning rapidly and giving off these radio waves. So I said, just like each pulsar has a distinct pulse, each track on my album has a distinct pulse, has a distinct vibe.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man, well, my pulse is still beating after that last one.
Thank
we
you.
thank you so much for stopping by.
No, thank
and
you.
please don't be a stranger. We'll be right back on Courtney's Corner.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This topic is very, very, very serious, and it touches close to all of those who are watching today. We're going to be discussing mental illness, from bipolarism to what depression is, and even if it is a mental illness, the risk that it takes to go through this, and why we go through these things, and what we can do to raise awareness. So I hope you're watching. And the majority of the people in America, in the world, don't even know. They don't know. They wake up every day feeling different, feeling other than themselves, and have no one to reach out to. So as you see here, I have a panel set up because we're going to have a panel discussion later on in regards to this said thing. This is one of those situations that touches the heart of America, because we're losing people each and every day to hardships of mental illness. And not just us. but celebrities as well. We've lost a few in regards to overall mental health. And one of the questions that I raise to you is, how can we raise awareness to this? How can we make things better for those who are suffering? Or do we just forget about it and act like it's not happening? I do want to hear from you. I hope to hear from you. Continue following our page for this. Yeah, we're going to really get into it. And we're here with our lovely panelist. That's Kavion Sabio. He's a full-time musician. My man Robert Gibbs Jr., who is an up-and-coming film producer, and the lovely Michelle Frazier, who was not only the manager of this group, she was a nurse for 26 years. Can you believe it? How we doing over here, guys? How we feeling? So, I was wanting to discuss some things, earlier on when we were talking about mental illness. Do any of you know anybody who goes through this on a daily basis, or have known someone?
I have. I've experienced it before. It was a difficult time after my grandfather passed, but I made it through, and through my faith, I did keep myself together, and that's how I've gotten to the place that I am now.
Good to hear. We're happy for you. Let's talk about what mental illness is and the types, because some people may not know, that these things are real. And I know we were discussing earlier that depression is it a mental illness? Is anxiety a mental illness? Let's dive into it. What's mental illness?
In essence, it is. I think that we all have someone, or we know someone, either in our family immediately or in the neighborhood that we live in, that has had one form or another of mental illness. And there's always an excuse, especially in the African American community. Oh, he's just a little, or something. And the reality is, because we oftentimes don't go to get help,
Right.
and 9 times out of 10, you can't afford to have help
Yes.
anyway.
I like to add on that too. It's like something with our community, Black and brown communities, where we don't seek help. It's like a weakness. Like we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to search for help. And even when you reach out to certain people, it's like, come on, toughen up. Like you know what this is. Like it's always been a struggle for us, So it's kind of like we don't have time to work on our insides or like pay attention, have that self-awareness to know what's going on in our mind. Like we grinding, we trying to get it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that, don't mean to cut you off, but that comes too from ignorance, because you can't fix something that you don't know
Right.
is happening.
Or even concerned with.
Yeah, and consistently, especially in the African American community, we tend to either pray it away, go to church, or excuse it as
Yes.
he's just, special or different, or,
Yes,
or
yes.
something like that. And the reality is that this person has issues that they need to deal with. They need to go get some treatment, speak to a psychiatrist, a psychologist,
Yes.
go get some medication to just kind of like, because it is a chemical imbalance.
Right.
Oftentimes,
Right.
Unless you're suffering from depression, or some women postpartum depression
Yes.
after having a baby, or whatever the situation is.
So are we? You said something earlier about people not wanting to seek help. Do we feel that it's because of a judgmental situation, or because we're living in a day and age where if you're said to have such an illness or disease or whatever the case may be, you're made fun of?
I think it's just ignorance. It's
Right.
just ignorance. I don't think it's because, I know there is a stigma as well in our community where if something happens, if you have an issue that you shouldn't or you can't, who is going to believe you anyway? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, yeah, if you were to go and say, I feel differently, something is happening to me emotionally that I can't, what is the one thing that they always tell you? Go pray, go to church,
right.
And that doesn't help the situation.
Yes, that's true.
So rather than, because they themselves, how can I tell you to do something that I've never done or I don't know anything about? Oftentimes, your parents they had their issues. Who do you talk to? Your girlfriend or your friends?
They don't know how to deal with their own stuff.
They become your preacher, your pastor, your therapist.
That comes also from the fact that it's not visible.
Right.
It's not visible. When someone breaks their arm or their leg, that's visible.
Right.
So you visibly give them that mentality of like, I want to see you get better because I see something wrong. They can't see that mental illness or chemical imbalance happening, so they don't necessarily know how to give you that sense of support or help.
Right.
So even when you do say that there's something wrong, they don't. It's like if it's out of sight, it's out of mind.
Right.
They won't believe it unless they can actually see it.
Right. So we're talking about these diseases. So what are they? You know, like some people don't know what these are when they see them. You know what I mean? Which is where we ask the question about being depressed and having anxiety. What are some others that you guys can think of?
A few off the top of my head. Psychosis, schizophrenia. There is a few others that I'm not familiar with, but they say bipolar, which was originally called manic depressive, and there are people who still deal with it, and it's even in a sense of depression and anxiety end up forming into these things or possibly being misdiagnosed.
Okay, well, we'll be right back with some more information. Don't go nowhere. Let's dive right back into it. So we were talking about mental illness, and one of the things that some people may not know is that 1 in 5 people, whether it be adolescents or older people, suffer from this. That is actually 20% of the population, and 56% are people who do not seek treatment for it. So let's talk about that. That's a high percentage of people who are not seeking treatment. What are some ways that we can raise awareness about mental illness and how it is okay to be able to seek that treatment and not feel like, I'm different. I'm different. Or I'm cast out from everybody else?
I think it has to start with self-love first and foremost. You have to love yourself and respect yourself. And then at that point, once you love yourself, you will care and want to know more about yourself. So then comes self-awareness. So you have to keep in mind, like, what's going on in your mind. You know what I mean? Like, I'm feeling weird. Like, something with me, like, I get, like, little spouts of depression where, like, I just feel bad. And I joke around. I call it, like, my period. My bad period. Like, I get depressive. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. It's hard to get out of bed. And it's like, now I'm more aware of it. So when that type of thing happens, I treat myself with self-love. I'll go shopping, I'll relax, take a bath, stretch, exercise, like just have time for me where I just pretty much cut off everybody else. And it's like, you gotta do, like, there's certain steps you gotta take, loving yourself, awareness, take account of how you're feeling, why you're feeling this way, do that self-work.
Are there other ways? Because I think that way works, but I'm pretty sure there are other ways to kind of like, raise that awareness. Some people can do it on their own, but not everybody has that sense of strength. So what are some other ways to go about it?
A way that I find to work is that I've been seeing a lot of different apps being used now for you to speak to people.
Yes.
And that is one avenue. Another avenue would be, and this might be a little weird, but going online and playing like online video games like with other people. That kind of gets you in a passive thought process, or watching a TV show. And it's a specific TV show, or there's a specific kind. You don't want to watch, drama TV that like overstimulates your mind. You want to watch something that's very uplifting or very relaxing, like a kid's television show or a cartoon, something like that. With when you approach it in such a very simplistic way, things like that can really kind of slow your mind down. Because really, a lot of the time, what those mental illnesses are your mind moving so fast that you can't keep up with every thought. The thing is, not every thought is your thought.
So how are we to now kind of raise that awareness with our young people? Because those are the ones now who I feel are suffering the most, and because they don't know what to do, their reaction to things are completely, closed off. You know what I mean? So how can we go about raising that awareness? Because it's happening. Yeah. It's happening in the schools. It's happening in a home, like you stated before. And like we said, some people don't want to deal with it. You don't want to accept the fact that my child is different than the other person, or the other person in school. So how can we inform these parents? How can we inform the teachers? Because let's be honest, the teachers are misguided as well. They're giving a pamphlet where everybody smiles and giggles, and they don't realize these are real life situations that are happening in real life communities. You know what I mean? So how can we go about doing that?
First thing that comes to my mind is social media.
Yeah,
social media. Like you can do it in one of two ways. You can do it where you do like a short video where you kind of have the hashtag, where you create a hashtag for that. Kind of how they kind of did with the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge thing, like a whole movement. Yeah, a whole kind of movement.
Yeah.
Or you can make a type of a meme thing. You do like a certain type of meme where like you have that one photo, or like certain photos that go around it, and then you create a hashtag that way. One that gives the people the sense of relief. It's just like, okay, that's funny because it's like a funny photo.
And I'm not alone.
Exactly, and I'm not alone. Exactly. So it could really reach a lot of people.
Right. What about you, Michelle?
There are other avenues as well. I mean, I agree to some respects to what they're saying, but in certain places, in certain situations, it's not that accessible.
Right.
And then what do you do when that happens?
Mm-hmm.
So there are 800 numbers, which I should have had on hand to mention. But there are 800 numbers that you can call.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to your health department, your clinics in your neighborhoods, even speaking to your doctor, just like a regular physician that you visit on a regular basis and say, look, I am feeling this way or I'm feeling that way. Do I need to see somebody? What can I do? So there are other avenues besides those. I mean, those avenues could be long term, but for the immediate
short term,
help that somebody may need right now, who is in a situation, I think.
Now let's think also too, not being afraid to talk about it. I feel like in homes nowadays, people are just so afraid. They're so afraid to have these conversations because they're afraid to accept the fact. So we need to start building conversations and having these conversations, not with the adults, but with the young people, because we're always so quick to say they're our future. They're now. They're right now. And we don't want to feel bad for anything that comes to pass because we're afraid to be vulnerable and open with them, So I thank you guys so much for taking part in this and being a part. If you want to find out more information about these three panelists or anything we discussed on Courtney's Corner today, follow all social media accounts. We'll be right back. Okay. So I hope you were able to gain some information and some knowledge about mental illness, and I hope that it changes your perspective when you see someone going through this. I really want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank my set of panelists, RJ, Sabio, and Michelle, for coming out and explaining a little bit more about what this is and how we as people can be better for those who are suffering. Next week's episode is going to be about double standards. I thank you for watching, and I love you. See you soon on Courtney's Corner.
And now introducing James C. Ellerby with one of his spoken word pieces, Superhero.
We are superheroes. We are superheroes. So let no one steal your cape. Let there be no mistake, you have superpowers. You can soar above pain like the Falcon. You can punch holes in fears like Luke Cage. And no matter what people may say, the bulk of your power is inside you. It wasn't manufactured in a lab. You're not a mutation. You're a physical manifestation of something glorious, something majestic. You too can control storms like Storm. You were born beautiful, powerful, gifted. Uplift your soul. Your neighborhoods are your Wakanda, and you are Black Panther. So save your fellow Avengers. Your name is Isaiah Bradley, the first Captain America. Like you were the first to create civilization, one of God's greatest creations. on this earth. So take back your birthright, Esau. Climb, claw, fly your way out of the abyss. Assist anyone in despair. Dare to be incredible. Dare to be fearless, lest you be defeated by your own weakness. Secure your secret identity. The world doesn't need to see. Sometimes great things are done in secrecy. But most importantly, never give up. Tired of injustice, then decide enough is enough. Turn words into actions, dreams into goals. Hold yourself accountable, for the world needs you. Evil never sleeps. It wreaks havoc, disenfranchised lives, and will always live in a lie. Be the proof in truth. Be bulletproof. Be someone's lifesaver. Let no one steal your cape. Make every day an adventure, venture to uncharted places. Pace yourself. Don't exhaust all your powers in one time. Even Jesus had to recharge. Be larger than life, like being the source of change. Put on your game face. For the race, it's not for the swift, but for the one that endures to the end. You too will bend spoons with your mind. Combined with like-minded forces, you got a course to your destiny. Believe you can. Believe you must. Trust in your maker. For who's gonna show her that her life is worth more than a reality TV show contract? Who's gonna show him a gang is no place to find a father figure? Your purpose is bigger than you. Your superpowers are not meant for you. They're meant for your family, your neighborhood, your community. For everyone wants to be super. Everyone wants to be special. But be the change. Be the difference. Be superheroes. For God's sakes, just be.